Welcome in to this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. On today's program, we are going to let you hear from ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr., the great one who's been all over the draft for a number of years. And I can tell you, draft coverage would not be what it is today without Mel Kiper Jr., a pioneer. I have been told that this is his final mock draft before the real thing. And so what we're going to do on today's show is we are going to go over Mel's selections for Kansas City, show you what he had to say, and then we'll give our thoughts on the picks here in just a matter of moments. Before we do, you are on the clock here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Here's what I need from y'all. Who is a player the Chiefs should draft? Doesn't have to be a first-round pick. Could be a day 3 guy. I don't care. Who do you want the Chiefs to draft? Spam their name in the comments section. Let's let it be heard loud and clear. Let Brett Veach know that you want to see him in KC. Spam their name, and we'll get started with today's show. So, Mel Kiper went through all 32 teams and did both the first and second round in his mock draft. And so let's go ahead and get started with his first-round pick for Kansas City. He went with Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons at 31 overall. And we've talked a lot about Josh Simmons. There's been rumblings about a potential trade involving Josh Simmons, whether that's the Chiefs moving up or potentially moving down to acquire Josh Simmons. He's been talked a lot for Kansas City's draft position, as has Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. So why did Mel project Simmons to KC at 31? Here's what he said. If Simmons didn't re-injure his knee last October, we might not be having this conversation because his projection might be closer to the top 10. He has really good footwork and power, and he gave up just 1 sack over 19 career starts at left tackle. Heck, he hadn't given up a single pressure in 6 games before the injury last season. That's the kind of pass protection the Chiefs need. Kansas City tried Wanya Morris and Kingsley at left tackle, but neither held up well. It kicked guard Joe Tuning outside, but he's in Chicago now. The Chiefs have to find a legitimate answer, and while they signed Jalen Moore to be that, it's no sure thing. He was a backup in San Francisco. Now, personally, there will be no complaints from me if the Chiefs are going to use a first-round pick on an offensive lineman, whether that be Simmons or Zabel or somebody else for that matter. It's the biggest need for the Kansas City Chiefs that they have to address in some way, shape, or form. They badly need depth. They need to protect their biggest asset in Patrick Mahomes. Now, whether you stay at 31, you trade up, trade down, if you end up with Simmons in some way, shape, or form, I think it makes a ton of sense, and he's a natural fit for Kansas City. More on Simmons. Began his career at San Diego State from 2021 to 2022. Then transferred to The Ohio State, where he played his final 2 seasons. Despite the injuries, last year he was a third-team All-Big Ten selection and was a part of Ohio State's national championship squad last year. His numbers, according to Pro Football Focus, in 306 snaps, had a solid overall grade of a 74.0. His pass blocking grade was his strength with an 82.0. Run blocking grade could use some work, a 68.7. But most importantly, did not allow a single sack and only got called for 1 penalty. And you take it a step further, did not allow a single hit and only 1 hurry. That's some fantastic protection there from Josh Simmons. And he does have the injury concerns, but there's still a whole lot of good when it comes to his scouting report. He's a loose, fluid mover. He's got excellent quickness. He has very good play strength. He's got the inside strike ability to punch. There are times, though, where he's had careless penalties. Now, he did a pretty decent job of cleaning that up this past year at Ohio State, but his track record in the past shows some mistakes that were avoidable that he'll need to overcome going forward from here. So what do you think about the idea of Josh Simmons and Mel Kiper's selection there? If you want the Chiefs to draft Josh Simmons, type S for select. If not, type P for pass. Weigh in our pinned comment today and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Game Time is the official ticket partner of the Chiefs Report, and they have great last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals. Save even more when you choose a selection and let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing where you can toggle the feature and show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They also have their seat views where you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I got to tell you, go to Royals games. Game Time has saved me a lot of money, folks. And Game Time can save you a big chunk of change as well. Whether you're looking to go to Royals games or other events in Kansas City, they got it all, folks. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPRTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Up next, we move ahead to the second round. That is where Mel Kiper is projecting Kansas City to select Iowa running back Kaleb Johnson at 63 overall. Here's what Mel had to say about the pick. Isaiah Pacheco was out for most of the season with a leg injury, and Kareem Hunt was signed off the street as a replacement. Still, we can't ignore the Chiefs' 4.0 yards per carry last season, which ranks 29th in the NFL. No team had fewer runs for at least 10 yards, 33. Kansas City re-signed Hunt and brought in Elijah Mitchell to back up Pacheco, but Johnson could entirely revitalize this run game. He ran for 1,537 yards and 21 touchdowns last season. To me, that's really high going to the second round for a running back for a couple of reasons. You have more pressing needs than the running back position. I'm not saying that you don't need help at the running back position, but I think you have other things that you should prioritize first. And on top of that, too, this is the best running back draft class in a very long time. There are some fantastic backs that are going to be available day 3. I don't need to waste a second-round pick personally on getting a guy like Kaleb Johnson. No offense to Kaleb Johnson by any stretch when I need help at edge rusher, when I need help in the secondary. We mentioned the offensive line earlier. I think there's too many important things there. But nonetheless, Kaleb Johnson, fantastic football player. Spent the last 3 seasons with Iowa. He was a consensus All-American, first-team All-Big Ten selection in 2024. He was also named the Big Ten running back of the season. And you look at his numbers, like Mel was talking about, he was great. 240 carries, 1,537 yards, 6.4 yards a carry, and 21 total touchdowns. And he wasn't bad as a receiving back as well. Had 22 catches, 188 yards, 8.5 yards a reception, 2 touchdowns. We know Andy loves to use his backs in the passing game as well. His scouting report, his vision, it's a lot better than 4 eyes right here, I can tell you that much, with his patience and toughness all on display. He's got a sturdy build. He's very explosive and urgent. And if you're looking for short yardage, I know that a lot of you do not like Patrick Mahomes running QB sneaks, and I understand. He is an ideal short yardage back. Top speed, a bit average, though, to be honest. And we've kind of seen that problem in Kansas City with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. And so that's a little worrisome of, you don't want a speed back here if you're going to go with a back, a burner, but maybe you just want another Pacheco or Hunt, I guess, based on the way Mel is talking there. What do you think about Kaleb Johnson? Your chance to be Brett Veach and let us know. Would you draft Kaleb Johnson? Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in that comment section. Tell me if you would draft Johnson or not. So when I look at this mock by Mel, I like the Simmons pick. For all the reasons we laid out, it makes a ton of sense for Kansas City to get offensive line help and get a quality player like Simmons, even though he's got the injury concerns. Now, the second pick with Kaleb Johnson, although I would not have selected Kaleb Johnson in the second round, you could do a whole lot worse than Kaleb Johnson. And I still think you put yourself in a solid spot for the rest of this draft going forward if that's how you begin with those two picks. So to recap, Mel's mock draft, his two selections for Kansas City, Simmons at 31, Kaleb Johnson at 63. My grade, I'll give it a B. And the reason why I give it a B, you get two very good players, but I don't think you needed to go running back second round. I think you could have waited on that. Plenty of good backs that'll be available later, from Devin Neal to Cam Scattaboo to Ollie Gordon, Donovan Edwards. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. You don't need to reach for the second round to get Kaleb Johnson and a style of runner that you already have on that front as well. Let's go over Mel's first-round selections. They include Cam Ward to the Tennessee Titans at number 1 overall. Travis Hunter goes to Cleveland with the number 2 pick. Number 3, the Giants, they go with Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter. The Patriots, they go with Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU. Then at 5, the Jags go Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. Raiders at 6, they go with the best running back in this draft, Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. 7, the Jets, they go with Armand Mimbo, the second offensive lineman off the board, and getting some much-needed help there in New York. 8, the Panthers, they go with Georgia edge rusher Jalen Walker. And then at 9, Shad Orleans arrives in New Orleans as they go with the Colorado quarterback, the son of Coach Prime, and they get their quarterback of the future to replace Derek Carr. Rounding out the top 10, the Bears go with the best tight end in this draft. I think he's my favorite player in this draft, Tyler Warren from Penn State. 11, the Niners go with Will Johnson, a fantastic corner from the University of Michigan. 10, the Cowboys at the 12th spot. They go with Hampton, the running back from North Carolina. At 13, the Dolphins go with Barron, the corner from Texas. Loveland, second best tight end in this draft. He goes to Indianapolis at 14. The Falcons, they get a guy that's rising up boards quite a bit. That is Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marshall. At 16, Matthew Golden. A lot of people have mocked him to Kansas City. He goes all the way at 16 here to Arizona. 17, Jahad Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama, goes to Cincinnati. At 18, the Seattle Seahawks get some much-needed help on the offensive line, going with Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas. I know a lot of Chiefs fans are hoping he falls to 31, but not in this case. At 19, the Bucs, they go safety from South Carolina, Nick Emanwari. Then at 20, the Broncos go with T-Mac, the star receiver from Arizona. 21, the Steelers get help on the defensive line, going with Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle from Oregon. At 22, the Chargers go with North Dakota State offensive lineman Gray Zabel. He's off the board, not in position for Kansas City to get him at 31. Mikael Williams, the star edge rusher from Georgia. I know that there's been rumblings the Chiefs really like him. He's gone before the Chiefs pick 23 to Green Bay. 24, Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman from Ohio State. He goes to the Vikings. Then at 25, another offensive lineman off the board, a guy that's been talked about for the Chiefs, Josh Connerly, offensive tackle from Oregon. The Rams, they get their quarterback of the future, going with Jackson Dart from Ole Miss at 26. 27, the Ravens strengthen their secondary, going with Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. Donovan E., the edge rusher from Boston College, he goes to Detroit at 28. 29, Shamar Stewart, edge rusher from Texas A&M, goes to the Commies. At 30, the Bills go with Maxwell Harrison, the corner from Kentucky. Then there's the pick for the Chiefs, Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from Ohio State. And rounding out the first round is James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher from Tennessee. And you can go to ESPN Plus to see the rest of Mel's two-round mock draft for every pick of each round there. So, what do you think of Mel's final mock draft? This is a unique fellow, folks. This is a guy that eats pumpkin pie for breakfast every morning and watches reruns of The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson every night at 11:30. How did Mel do Psycho Mel. I gave him a B. What do you guys give him? A, B, C, D, or F? Get in that comment section and let us know. For continuing Chiefs offseason and draft coverage, give me a follow on X at Tyler Jones Live. Appreciate you joining us, and we will see you next time here on the Chiefs Report.